A great sage called Sutta once narrated the story of how Vinayaka was born. What is the dosha that comes when we see the moon on Vinayaka Chavithi and the remedy from the dosha? Vinayaka Chavithi story. Once there lived a demon king by the name of Gajasura. He was named so because he had the form of an elephant. He performed a great penance for Lord Shiva. Shiva, who was pleased with the penance, came to him and offered him a boon. That demon prayed to Lord Shiva as soon as he saw him, and then prayed that, "Hey Lord, I would ask for you to stay in my stomach as a boon." Lord Shiva, known for his love towards his followers, agreed and stayed in the stomach of Gajasura. In the meantime, goddess Parvati, wife of Lord Shiva, who was in Kailasam, was getting worried, as her husband was not to be seen for many days. She searched and finally found out that Lord Shiva was residing in the stomach of the demon Gajasura. Then she was very worried on how to get her husband back and prayed to her brother Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu came to Parvati, who narrated the whole story of her husband and requested Vishnu to help in getting her husband back. Vishnu consoled Parvati and promised that he would get her husband back. Lord Vishnu, along with other deities like Indra, Brahma, etc., hatched a plan of getting Shiva back. As a part of the plan, they decorated Nandi as Gangridu, and gods were disguised as musical instrument players, where all the gods took up different musical instruments. With everything ready, all of them went to the capital city of the demon Gajasura. In the city, they started the show of making the bull move to their music, and it was magnificent, and started pulling in huge crowds. The fame of the bull play reached Gajasura, and he summoned them to his court. In the court, all the gods made Nandi play beautifully, by which Gajasura was impressed, and asked the band to go ahead and ask for anything, and he would for sure give them. Listening to that, Vishnu said that Gangidu was no other than Nandi, the vehicle of Shiva, and they were here for Shiva. Listening to that, Gajasura understood that the one who spoke was none other than Lord Vishnu, famous for killing demons, and knowing that he had no other way out but to stand on his word, he once again prayed to Lord Shiva and asked him for another boon, stating that his death was imminent, and so he prayed to Lord Shiva that he made his head to be prayed in all the lokas, and that Shiva would wear his skin as clothes, for which Lord Shiva agreed. Vishnu asked Nandi to pierce the stomach of Gajasura, which Nandi did, and Shiva was out from the stomach of Gajasura. Vishnu then advised Shiva that boons were to be given on discretion and asked him to consider before giving boons to demons. Then all the gods left, and so did Shiva, mounted Nandi, and left to Kailasam, birth of Ganesh. Knowing the arrival of Lord Shiva, Parvati feels relieved and happy. She performs Abhyagna Sana, called Nalagu. While performing the bath, she prepares a boy with the flower and instills life into it. The child is born, and she asks him to be guard at the front door as long as she is bathing, and tell him not to let anyone enter the house. The child is now standing as a guard to the door of the house of Parvati. Shiva comes home and tries to get in the house, where the child has stopped him. Shiva gets angry and in a fit of rage kills the boy by beheading and burying the head, and enters the house. Parvati, who is ready by now, receives Lord Shiva with affection. In the course of talking, the discussion comes up on the boy who was guarding the door. Shiva tells Parvati that he had killed him, upon which Parvati narrates the whole story of birth of the boy and becomes sad. Shiva repents on what he had done, and the only way that he can bring the boy to life is by attaching a new head. He sends all the soldiers under his command to go and fetch a head of the person who is lying with his head positioned in the north direction. Then all the soldiers go in all the directions and finally return with the head of Gajasura, stating that Gajasura was the only one sleeping with his head kept in the north direction. Shiva then brings back the boy to life by attaching the head of Gajasura and named him Ganesha. He was given a rat by the name of Anidyuda as a vehicle. Shiva and Parvati, after a few years, had another son by the name of Kumaraswamy. Kumaraswamy became the commander of the army of gods later. Kumaraswamy is also called as Kartikeya, Subramanya, etc., commander of Vignas. Once all the gods sages meet Shiva and pray him and ask him to appoint someone as a head to the Vignas, Kumaraswamy comes forward and asks his father to give the head of Vignas post to him, as Ganesha is short and fat. But Ganesha also wants the post, so Shiva puts them to a test. The test is to go around all the worlds and to bathe in all the holy rivers present in those worlds in return. Whoever comes first will be appointed as the head of Vignas. Listening to which Kumaraswamy sits on his vehicle Peacock and flies for completing the test. Ganesh, on the other hand, feels sorrow, approaches his father and prays him, saying, "You know that I am fat, short, and cannot move as fast as Kumaraswamy. So I request you to advise me on how to win this competition." Lord Shiva responds to his prayer and says that if you recite the Narayana mantra and do pradakshina to parents, it is equal to bathing in all the holy rivers. Shiva teaches Ganesha Narayana mantra, and Ganesh, reciting the mantra, does the pradakshina to his parents. Because of the effect of the mantra and the pradakshina, Kumaraswamy always sees his brother Ganesh to finish the bath and leave, as he tries to enter for a bath in any of the holy river. Kumaraswamy returns to Kailasam and tells his father to forgive him of his ignorance in recognizing his elder brother's capability, and requests him to place Ganesha as the head of Vignas. So Ganesh is named the head of the Vignas and hence called Vigneshwara. This ceremony of placing Ganesha as the head of Vignas was done on Bhadrapada Shukla Chavithi, and from that day on it is celebrated as Vinayaka Chaturti or Ganesh Chaturti. All the people, gods, sages, etc. of all worlds presented Ganesh with a lot of different food items, like bananas, coconuts, sweets like laddu, kodamulu, etc. And Ganesh ate most of them. He, wishing to seek the blessings of his mother and father, goes to them with a big stomach. He tries to take their blessing by doing Shastagna Namaskaram, but because of his stomach, if he tries to keep his hand on the ground, his legs would raise. Looking at the way Ganesha was doing the Namaskara, the moon, which resides on the head of Lord Shiva, laughs, and Ganesha is subjected to Dishti, which causes the stomach of Ganesha to break open and Ganesha dies. Looking at his dead son, Parvati gets angry and then puts a curse on the moon that as her son died because of the Dishti by moon, the one who would from now on see moon will be falsely alleged. At the same time, the famous 7 sages were doing pradakshina. The fire god gets attracted to the wives of sages and would want to spend time with them, but afraid of the curse that the sages would give if he tries to do it, he refrains himself. Knowing this, Vahadevi, the wife of Lord Agni, tries to bring happiness to her husband, transforms herself to look like the wives of the sages, and spends time with her husband. Swadevi transforms to look like the wives of the 6 sages except Arundhati. The 7 sages by chance see this and think that it is their wives that are present with Lord Agni and leave their wives. This was the result of the wives seeing the moon after the curse of Parvati. The wives of 7 sages go to Brahma and pray him of their innocence. Shiva, who knows everything, calls for the 7 sages and pacifies them by narrating the truth that is in fact the wife of Agni who transformed herself to look like the wives of the sages. Then Brahma, along with all the other gods, go to Kailasam and gives life to the dead Ganesha and prays to Parvati to withdraw her curse. Parvati, relieved of the pain, is happy to see her son, and so she reduces the intensity of the curse by stating that the curse would prevail only one day. Her son was dead because of the moon's Dishti, fourth day of Bhadrapada Masam. So people from that day onwards refrained themselves from looking at the moon on the day of Vinayaka Chavithi. This went on for some time. In Dwarpa Yuga, one day sage Narada came to see Lord Krishna in the city of Dwaraka. He informed him of the curse of Parvati, narrated the whole story, and advised him not to see the moon today as it was Vinayaka Chavithi. Krishna made this matter to be known to all the people of his kingdom, and he also was careful not to look at the moon. Krishna loves to drink milk, and so goes to the cow yard and milks the cow when he is about to drink the milk. He sees the reflection of the moon in it. He immediately remembers what Narada had said and prepares himself to face the false illusion that he might be dragged into. Some time passes by, and once a person by the name Satyajit visits Sri Krishna and shows him a diamond by the name of Samanthaka money, which was given to Satyajit by the Lord Sun. The speciality of the diamond being it gives out 8 kgs of gold every day. Then Krishna asked Satyajit to give it to the king for the best use for the welfare of the people. But Satyajit refuses and Krishna lets it go. Once Prasena, the brother of Satyajit, goes hunting wearing the diamond. Looking at the diamond and presuming it to be meat, a lion attacks and kills Prasena and takes the diamond. A bear has a look at the diamond with the lion and fights with it, and takes the diamonds to his home, which is a cave, and ties it to the cradle in which his daughter is sleeping for her to play. The next day, as Prasena doesn't return, Satyajit blames that Krishna has killed his brother and taken the diamond, as he refused to give it to Krishna. Listening to which, Krishna understands that this blame was due to looking at the reflection of the moon in milk during Vinayaka Chaturti. In order to free himself of the blame, Krishna inquires on what happened and goes to the forest looking for Prasena. In the forest at one place, he finds the dead body of Prasena and footmarks of a lion. He follows the footmark of the lion and after some time comes to a place where he sees that there has been a fight between a lion and a bear. He then follows the footsteps of the bear and reaches the cave of the bear. Krishna enters the cave and sees a diamond tied to the cradle. He tries to take it and the girl starts crying, on hearing which the bear comes out and attacks Krishna. Krishna fights back with the bear. The fight goes on for 28 days and the bear loses all its energy and realizes that Krishna is none other than Rama. The bear is none other than Jambavanta, the king of bears in aid of Rama in Treta Yuga. He remembers how, after the war with Ravana, Rama grants a boon to Jambavanta, and Jambavanta foolishly asks for a duel with Rama, which Rama grants and says that his boon would be fulfilled later. And it is now that Krishna has come to fulfill the boon, and both Rama and Krishna are the avatar forms of Lord Vishnu. He then prays to Krishna, who relieves Jambavanta of all the pains. Jambavanta, along with the diamond, also gives him his daughter, Jambavati, and requests him to accept her as his wife. Krishna agrees and returns to Dwaraka along with the diamond and the girl. He summons Satyajit, returns the diamond, and narrates him the whole story. Listening to which, Satyajit repents and offers Krishna not only the diamond, but also his daughter, Satyabhama. Krishna rejects the diamond and accepts Satyabhama as his wife. All the people, sages, then pray to Krishna and tell him that because you are the Almighty, you are able to prove your innocence. But what about normal people like us? Please show us some means to overcome the blame if we look at the moon on Vinayaka Chavithi. Krishna, pleased by the prayers, gives a boon that those who perform Ganesh Puja and would listen to the story of birth of Ganesha and the story of Samanthaka Mani and put the Akshantalu on their heads would be freed from the curse if they accidentally see the moon.